Good evening and welcome to PBS Fort Wayne and to our show Life Ahead. If you've not watched us before, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Often you need some advice or some information or education as you have to make choices for your life ahead. And that's what we do here. We have different topics every week and we try to give you, again, that information and education to help you out with some of those decisions. Tonight, it's a combination of law and physical fitness. We are going to be talking with elder law attorney Heidi Adair, who's been with us many, many times. And then also we're going to talk some exercise with Erin Long, who's a Corrective Exercise Specialist. We'll find out what that is here in a moment. This is Heidi. You probably recognize her if you watch us regularly. Welcome back, Heidi.
Thanks, Sandy.
And Erin, you were here with Heidi. We were trying to decide whether it was 2 years ago or something like that. And we talked about, you know, getting back in shape. And you went to Erin for a while.
Yeah, I got to know Erin because she was my trainer.
Ah, yeah. A tough trainer.
She is a tough trainer. You got to be prepared for that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now Erin has a lot of clients, as I recall, that are elderly or have some disabilities that make it difficult for exercise.
Yeah, I work with a wide range of clients, anywhere from teenagers to people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. I've even worked with a gentleman in his 90s before.
Wow. Wow, it makes me feel guilty that, you know. Okay, and so I guess what we're saying here is that we're going to give you some advice, no matter what age you are or what your physical condition is, to maybe get more physically fit that will help you with your life. And if you have any questions, whether it's physical fitness or elder law, Heidi, they can call and ask a question, right?
Right.
Okay, 969-2720 is our number there, and if you're out of the 260 area code, don't worry about it, put an 866 in front of that and it'll be toll free. Okay, I'm going to start asking questions, but again, give us a call if you have something you'd like for us to discuss. Let's talk, Heidi, about, well, first of all, this topic of physical fitness or pre-retirement health assessments. Why are we talking about that now?
So I called it pre-retirement health assessment, thinking you need to assess the health of your legal matters, your financial matters. And as important as that is, assessing your health and getting a plan for staying healthy is really even more important than making sure your legal affairs are in order.
Yeah, if your legal affairs are all in order, but your body's not, you've got a problem.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Okay. How do you assess somebody's legal health? We'll look at that side first.
Yeah. So the best way to do that is to pull out any documents that you've done in the past and look through those and see what they are and see if the people who are named in them are still people that you want. Another key thing is to come up with a listing of all of your assets, every single thing that you own, and put it down on a piece of paper. Is the first step.
That's the first step. And now, if you need help kind of sorting things out, and you want to go to an elder law, what kind of documents should you take on a first visit?
Well, you should bring all those past legal documents that you've done, that you dug through your closet and found.
Yeah.
Bring those, and then bring your listing of all of your assets, all your bank accounts, all your life insurance policies, all your real estate.
And all your passwords. Nowadays, we have to include that.
Yeah.
I always think of Heidi, too, when we talk about this, and something she mentioned probably 2 or 3 years ago. Heidi has everything in an orange folder at home.
I do, yeah.
And your family all knows that.
Yeah, they do.
A good idea, though, to do something like that, to make sure that your family knows where all those documents are, whether it's orange or purple folder or whether it's in the upstairs bedroom or if it's in the office or in a kitchen drawer or whatever, but to keep the family involved. Exactly. Okay, let's talk about physical fitness, Erin. When does someone know that they should be coming to see someone like you or somebody to help them with physical fitness?
Well, I think physical fitness starts at any age, at any time. So, you know, sometimes you have to be in the right mindset in order to start that journey.
Yeah.
If you're not really your heart's not into it or anything, it's kind of harder to start. But if you make that decision, it's something that I need to do maybe for myself, for my family, to live a little bit longer and more comfortable by taking care of yourself.
We were talking in the break room right before the show about some physical problems, like, and a lot of people have physical problems that maybe have been, thanks to modern medicine, repaired, a hip replacement or a knee replacement or whatever. And a lot of people that have had those types of situations need some kind of physical therapy or physical fitness. Are there any limitations or things that you would say, let's not work on a physical regime quite yet?
After someone's had a hip replacement or a knee replacement, usually they do go to physical therapy, and after they've graduated from that program, some people want to continue to work on getting physically healthier, but aren't really sure what to do. Going to a bigger facility sometimes can be scary, so definitely looking out and reaching out to someone local that knows what they're doing and has worked with that specific clientele before is very important.
Well, now, when we see this on TV and, sitcoms or movies or whatever, you always see a big group of like 25 or 30 people doing Zumba or whatever they're doing. But I think you told me before, sometimes they're just small groups that have something in common that you're working with.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do at our facility, is that we work with the individual, whether it's in kind of a larger class, which is maybe 5 to 10 people, or more of a private or semi-private facility where we're specifically working with that individual with what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So we specialize and we program their workouts and their journey to them.
Do you do spin classes?
We actually do have spin bikes. We are currently looking for an instructor. But we do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My son-in-law teaches some spin classes at one of the Ys here in Fort Wayne, and he just, his class, they're just so excited about it. They really feel like that's a wonderful thing, and they're all ages. So, cool thing. Okay, well, you might have to try that. Huh?
Yeah.
Don't ask me to meet you there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, if somebody has knee or back issues, Erin, what should they start with? What kind of an exercise?
Well, first they always want to consult their doctor to make sure that they're able to do exercise, see if there's any limitations or anything that they need to be doing.
Okay.
And then, if they're not really sure what to do, find a facility that can work with them more individualized and give them, start with something very small. Sometimes maybe only 30 minutes is enough to get you started, and give them exercise that they know will help with whatever they're dealing with and progress from there.
Okay, all right. Do doctors often give you a plan, or they just tell you what your limitations are?
I don't really know of many doctors that give them a plan of just being like, maybe not do this or maybe not do that. They either send them maybe to a physical therapist to start.
Yeah.
And then once they've graduated from that, like we've said, like they go out and try to find something else that they can continue to do and that they enjoy. That's one of the biggest part, is finding something that you enjoy as you get older.
You'll stick with it.
Yes.
If it's something that you look forward to going to. Okay, Heidi, let's get back to some legal stuff here. When should you think about appointing a health representative? So we're talking about your body here and health, and I know that you always have told us that you need to have a power of attorney and a health representative.
Yeah.
When should you think about that, and what should you look for?
I mean, really, I think once you turn 18 years old, you should appoint a healthcare representative. You never know when an accident's going to happen, that you might not be able to be in charge of your own healthcare decisions. So it's important to name somebody. And as far as thinking about who to name, you want to name somebody that you can trust and think that they have good judgment. And they may be making very important, life and death decisions for you.
Yeah.
And so you want to have a conversation with that person about what your view, what you want the end of your life to look like, and trust that they're going to do what you want them to do. So,
are there any checks and balances on that? What if they don't abide by what you've told them you want?
Well, so you can set up a document to have some checks and balances built in.
Okay.
Where I might name, either one of my two kids to make a decision for me.
Yeah.
Hoping that, one of them will stand up to the other one, to cause what I want to be done. Sometimes people require the agreement of two people before any decision can be made. I usually really try to talk people out of doing that because it becomes very administratively burdensome.
If you name like two people as your
Right.
power of attorney.
If I
or healthcare
required both my
representative.
kids to agree on, and be present to make every single decision, that can be just administratively tough. But there are some families that absolutely that's how they want to structure their documents because they want that forced agreement.
I see. I see. Well, it just gets complicated no matter how you look
I
at it. But
it can be.
I think it's wonderful that we are at an age where we're aware of those sort of things, and we talk about it all the time here on Life Ahead about making sure that you have your legal documents all lined up. What's the term? Ducks in a row.
Ducks in a row, yes.
I wonder where that started. I'll have to Google that tonight. I
Yeah.
wonder where that began. But anyway, making sure you have your ducks in the row, or whatever. Okay, Erin, do you and other physical trainers? Is physical trainers the right thing to call you?
Physical trainers, personal trainer.
Okay. Do you require any kind of document from a doctor or somebody? When somebody comes to you and wants a training program, do you have to verify that they're medically able?
I'm not sure if you're actually required to do that, but we definitely at my facility, we make sure that we have in contact with the doctor. We get a release from them to make sure that they're able to do the care. I don't want anyone to come in and not be ready or anything like that. So I want to make sure that they're signed off to be able to work out again.
Okay. All right. Heidi, let's go back to the legal part of it. I know you have children, and I know you have some grandchildren. Lucky you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And one on the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next time you see her, she'll be a grandmother of two.
Two, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that requires a little bit of stamina,
Yeah.
physical fitness to be able to watch the grandchildren. What are some of the requirements legally, if there are any, for say someone like you to watch your grandchildren, or do you have to be in a certain physical condition?
Oh, no, I don't think so. As far as just watching your grandchildren on a, day-to-day dropping in kind of thing, there's nothing with that. But something that young parents need to be thinking about is who will take care of their kids permanently if something would happen to them.
And that means they have to have what?
A guardian named in their will.
A guardian named in their will, or is that a document you can do separately, say they don't have a will?
There is, I think there is some sort of document just for a short term that you can nominate someone as a child's guardian. It's just a single document.
I think we've talked about that, perhaps, with one of your coworkers, that a lot of young people will do that if they're going to go on a trip, especially if it's out of the country.
Right.
Then they feel like, oh boy, I better have something lined up. So they'll do like a temporary guardianship or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets you by for a short time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Erin, what questions should you ask yourself if you're thinking about starting a program? Let's say Heidi's going to start next week. You notice I didn't say I was going to. What should I ask myself to know whether or not I'm ready or prepared?
I'm not really sure if it's what you would ask yourself, if it's just making the conscious decision. Sometimes it's easier if you just go and, find something that you enjoy. If you enjoy, working out with others, find something that you can do where you're going to work out with others. If you don't really want to work out with others, you want to work with, just someone one-on-one, find that. Kind of see like where you're at and where your comfort level it is to start. If you don't like working out in a group, don't just go work out in a group and be like, oh my gosh, this wasn't for me and I don't want to do this anymore. So kind of analyze where you are, where you're starting at and where you want to go.
Yeah, and at what level?
Right.
I mean, I remember this was years ago. I decided, okay, I'm going to get really physical fit, and I joined a gym and signed up for, I don't think it was Zumba. What's kind of like that? I don't know.
Step aerobics.
Oh, yeah, some kind of, exactly, some kind of aerobics. And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. Well, fortunately, I got in the back row on purpose. I could not keep up with them at all. And later to find out that most of the class had been doing that for like 2 years, you know, and they new people like me. I mean, there was no way you could. See, I didn't stay with it because I just didn't feel comfortable in that situation.
That's one of the main reasons why I wanted someone like Erin to join me today, is because you don't have to be ready to join the class, to go to your first class. You could go get something arranged with a trainer, which I mean may feel like an expense or a splurge, but it's really a gift you're giving yourself. And they will help you start from the smallest little I mean, you don't have to be able to do hardly anything, and just build up from there. So I think it's important as we age to try to stay healthy and strong, and you can find somebody like this to help you do that, even if you are 100% out of shape.
Well, and a lot of people are. I mean, in addition to a lot of other life changes, you know, in this world right now, a lot of people are getting pretty comfortable with the TV and the lazy boy, you know, and well, as long as they've got the remote control, you know, but then maybe something happens to their body, or they get inspired to try to do something. Erin, what are some things, we're all sitting right now, but what's something we could do at home to just get ourselves started? That's a simple thing you can do from your chair or floor or whatever.
I mean, you can sit and you can do toe raises, you know, sitting in your chair, just lift up on your toes. You can do a leg extension where you're just going to lift your leg up, extend it out and in. Sitting and standing from a chair is as simple as it gets. You know, how many times do you have people where, you know, you have to get ready or use your legs or use your arms to stand up, but, you know, just trying to sit and stand without having to pull or push yourself up. You know, little things like that. Get up and, you know, walk around the house a few times, you know, during the day, rather, you know, on every commercial break, get up and walk around a little bit. I mean, we all know 2 or 3 minute commercial breaks are pretty prevalent in, you know, watching your favorite show. So just try little things like that to just get more movement throughout the day.
I saw something on, it was morning network TV, some physical fitness trainer or whatever was recommending something like that, and she said, if you just do 15 minutes of exercise a day, you know, that's better than nothing, and that's not bad at all. And she said the same thing. You can do it in 1 or 2 minute increments while there's a commercial or in between shows.
You know, I don't think you have to work out, you know, 30, 45 minutes when you have been physically inactive. Sometimes it is 5 or 10 minutes a day for a few weeks, and then go to 10 or 15 minutes. You know, I think some people get in the mind, well, I can't do 30 minutes, I can't do 45 minutes, but, you know, start small, build yourself up. And I think if we go too hard, too fast, that's where people get discouraged, and they don't want to continue to do it.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be all aerobic. You know, that's kind of what
and that's
really
what I know. That's what I was kind of suggesting, and that was wrong.
You can lift weights, and that's, you know, that's really good for you.
And you can make something at home, you know, that
you could use soup cans, you could use milk jugs, you could do anything. You know, I've seen people with brooms, using a broom to reach overhead, to, you know, curl, anything. You can use household items if you don't have any weights. They don't have to be super heavy. It's just about getting more movement throughout your body.
Are there any legal situations, Heidi, when somebody has had a surgery or whatever, and then they finally get into an exercise regime, but they do too much too soon and they end up with more problems, if you will? Can they go back to the trainer or
I don't think so.
facility and say, it's your fault? I'm in worse
I doubt
shape?
it. And I'm sure most places when you go work out, you're signing some papers, and parts of those papers are that you're exercising at your own risk and waiving any problems. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't think on a normal basis that would be something you could pursue.
Well, then we won't worry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
How about, you know, you mentioned that people should have a will and name guardians for their children. If you're working with your finances, what do you do about beneficiaries?
Well, that's just another part of making sure your plan is what you want it to be, because assets that go by a beneficiary designation, which would be like your 401k or an IRA, a life insurance policy, it does not matter what your will says. it's the document, the beneficiary designation form is going to say where that particular asset goes. And people, I'm just amazed. It's something that I explain literally 4 or 5 times every day. And when people come in and are, just revisiting their plans, I say, well, what have you checked into your beneficiaries designations lately? Or a new client, oh, I haven't looked in those in 25 years. So that's something that's important to make sure is up to date and what you want it to be, because in today's financial world, oftentimes most assets a person has are in their IRA or 401k.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And what if you want to make changes to those things, though? Can you
Yeah,
easily?
you just call the company or go online and print a new form and fill it out and send it in and make sure you get a confirmation. Don't just send it off
Yes,
and
yes.
don't look for a confirmation. Keep it in your task list.
In your orange folder.
Yeah, and then stick your confirmation in your orange folder.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's say that you want to make a change in the person that you have decided upon to be guardian of your children or to be your power of attorney and take care of your finances. Do you have to start all over? Do you need a new will? How do you make a change like that?
I mean, honestly, usually I just do for power of attorney, you just need to do a new document. And for
Okay.
wills, it is possible to do what's called a codicil, where you're just amending or changing one section. My general preference is to just do a whole new one. It's not that much more, it's really not any more work. So it's not going to cost that much more. And just having done this for so long, after someone's died and we're trying to figure out what their documents say, when we've got this one and this one and this one and this changed this, it's just very confusing. So to make things easy and simpler for families, it's just nice to have one document.
All right, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Erin, back to you. We talked about, just getting in shape if you've just gotten a little bit lazy. But let's say you have had a more serious problem. And that happens, especially as people get older. One of the biggest fears is falling.
Right.
Because that's, from what I've heard, the number one reason why they end up with a serious health problem, because they've fallen. Any recommendations of what people should do to try to avoid that, or if they do, what should they do?
I mean, the biggest thing is, as we age, is to keep moving. The second we sit down, the second we don't use our muscles, we start to atrophy.
Yeah.
So we want to get up, get moving. Lifting weights is so important. I do think being strong and doing strength training is so important. I always call it the fountain of youth. That we need to lift weights, we need to have muscle so we can continue to do everyday activities for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
That someone doesn't have to come in and help us, in and out of a chair, to take a shower, that we want to continue. And you can start at any age.
Yeah.
I think people get a little nervous that I'm 75. I can't start now. I started with a gentleman at 91.
What do you do with somebody that's 91?
We do a lot of chair-based exercises, but I made
Okay.
him get up. I made him walk around the house, and I was right there, because he was a little nervous. But
Okay.
he had his walker. He walked around. We did a few laps around the house. We had him do some light weights. I mean, he was lifting 5 pounds, doing some band work, but he was doing something 30 minutes. I think we worked 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and he lived to be 97.
Wow.
Yeah. And I continued to work with him until probably about 2 or 3 months before he passed.
That's amazing. I have a friend whose father is 93, and he lives at home alone,
Yep.
but he has kept himself healthy enough that he's able to do things,
Right.
physically or whatever. I mentioned about falling. I think the 2 big things that I hear people talking about or fearful of is, in Indiana, ice, falling on ice, happens a lot, or in the house, it's throw rugs. People need to take inventory in their house and not have loose rugs laying around. Well, actually, I just had a conversation with a gentleman who recently, he was recovering already from another serious accident, and he just stepped on a curb wrong. Just as a matter of balance, stepped on a curb wrong and fell and broke a couple ribs. How about that? You know, that takes a while to recover from.
It can, and again, but if done the right way, going to the rehab, doing the steps that you're supposed to do, you can build back some of that strength after an injury. You know, I think a lot of people get in their head that they can't do those things, they can't recover, and they can. I think our mind plays
Yeah.
a lot into what we can and cannot do.
Okay, all right. Heidi, you have 30 seconds to give recommendations to our viewers here from a legal point of view of what they should do to have a healthy preparation for retirement.
Yeah, I would say, you know, as you start leading into retirement, don't just let life happen to you. Make sure that you are planning
Yeah.
what you want your life, what you want your health, what you want your estate plan to look like. Be assertive and make your own plan.
Make your own plan.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, well, I have enjoyed, of course, having Erin and Heidi both with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to all of you for watching us here on Life Ahead. And we'll be back next Wednesday night at 7:30 with a new topic and new guests. So I hope I'll see you then. Meanwhile, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night.
The preceding program on PBS Fort Wayne was made possible in part by
Beers Mallers, elder law attorneys, providing information on legal matters of guardianship and financial issues relating to nursing home care. Beers Mallers attorneys can also assist with Medicaid requirements and help navigate difficult family situations. Beers Mallers, attorneys at law, with offices in Fort Wayne, LaGrange, and on the web at beersmallers.com.